everyone, it's Kat again, and I'm here this time to share some gift card holders that I've been working on. I came up with this pattern a couple of years ago when I was trying to make a simple pattern to whip out a whole bunch of them in a short amount of time. So this is what I came up with. This is part of Saturday Morning Makes. Hi Jill, thank you so much for hosting and creating Saturday Morning Makes. I really love it, and in fact, while I've been working on these, I've had Saturday Morning Makes videos in the background watching on and off. So these are all made from 6x6 paper. You can use, of course, your 12x12 and cut it into 6x6 or 5.5 by 5.5. Some of these are a little smaller, and those are the ones that I use the 5.5 for. So I would like to first share these with you, and then I can share with you how I made them. So let me see if I can get just a little closer here. So here's one, and the way they look in the back is they're all a little different, but this one I used a round punch to get that little finger hole there, and all the foldings in the back, and then the front is decorative. And some of these I've made to hang, so you could actually hang them on a gift, or hang them around a wine bottle, or hang them on your tree even. So there's that one. This one's a little bigger. This I used the 6x6. I didn't trim it first. And there's the back. And this one has the deer, and there's the back. This one's to be hung. I think that might be a little too close. Here's one with some old style paper. There's the back. This is a double-sided. Most of these were not double-sided. Here's one that I chose to put a ribbon on, which when I'm ready to put my card in, I can just slide the ribbon off and then slide it right back on when it's in there. And there's the back. You can see I did a little scalloped edge on that one. Here's another one. This one I used twine, but again, it just slides on and off very easily. There's the back. That's what the flap looks like. Okay. Here's another one with that same paper, but a different background on the sentiment. And then finally, this one. This one also has a little scalloped edge. Okay, so what I came up with, like I said, a couple of years ago, trying to figure out a really easy way to make these, is I came up with two ways. Either using a straight up 6x6 where you don't have to trim the paper down before you start scoring, and then I decided I liked the smaller one a little bit more, so I came up with the 5.5 square. So basically all you're doing is you're taking your paper and you're scoring it vertically, and then you're turning it, and then you're making horizontal scores, and then you're trimming it down, folding it, gluing it, and so forth. So this is the pattern for the 5.5 square. So what you would do, and I'm just going to kind of move this over a bit, I hope you can still see it. Yeah, right there. Is you take your paper with the pattern facing you and the top pointing up, and you're just going to score it. So with the top pointed up, you're going to score at 1.5 inches and 4 inches. So we're going to do 1.5 and then 4. And then you're going to turn it once so that your top is now pointed to the right. And again, you're going to score, but this time you're going to score at 1/2 inch, which is right here. Sorry, I know my hand's in the way a bit. and then at 4 1/8. So this is 1/8 right here. And so now you have your paper with your score lines in it. And I'm gonna make this a little smaller. And you can see them a little better if you look through the back. With this one that's white in the back. So now what you're gonna do is, all you're gonna do is you're gonna trim. So this is gonna be the bottom flap. So I wanna go at a little bit at an angle there. And then this is gonna be a side flap. So I'm gonna trim this one at a bit of an angle as well. And I'm using very sharp scissors. Get that off. I'm gonna do the same for the other one. Again, a little bit of an angle, because you don't want them touching when you fold them. Well, it's a little crooked, please excuse that. Okay, then this is the top, so we need to get rid of these two squares. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right under this score line here so that it doesn't show at all, as straight as I can. And then I'm going to cut again, getting that score line completely out of there. So you're basically cutting off a square. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. Again, getting rid of that score line. I don't want it showing. And now I'm going to turn it. So here's my gift card holder. I just need to assemble it now. So I'm going to start off by folding one side in. I'll use my bone folder. Now I'm doing the other side. I'm going to get rid of this because it's noisy. And I'm just going to glue those. Let's glue that right at the edge. You don't want to go too far in. And then I'm going to do my bottom flap. And there's the bottom flap. We're just going to glue that. Now you've got your little envelope. And if you flip it over, this is your front. Now you have choices up here. You can use some of these cute little scissors that you can get at a lot of different craft stores. I think I got these at Joann. And you can trim them to make pretty little design. Or if you want to hang them, you can use a corner cutter, maybe a decorative one, and then put a hole for your string. But what I'd like to show you is what I used that I just really loved it. I used this tag topper punch from Hobby Lobby. I bought it some years back. I think they still carry it, but if they don't, I have seen it online, I believe on Amazon. But with the measurements that I gave you, doing your scoring, you end up with a 2.5 inch wide holder. And it's just wide enough to comfortably fit a card in there. See that? And it also happens to be the perfect width for this punch, because this punch has slots for 1.5, 2 inch, and 2.5 inch. So I'm going to slide it in there, make sure that it's hitting all the way to the back, make sure it's centered, and then I'm going to give that a punch. Oops, let me make sure it's all the way in there, yes. And now you have your pretty little tag topper. That was so easy. And you could still bend this over if you want to close it. Like you could close it and then like this. And you could always put a little bow or something, or tie something, or tie a string through here and maybe put a bow on, tie it in the front with a bow. And of course you can decorate it however you like. But if you want to hang it, there you go. You've got your nice little decorative topper. And so this is an example. Oops. This one's an example of one that I made using that tag topper punch, where I took a 6x6 and I cut it down to 5.5 by 5.5 and then did my scoring and all that. So that's an example. Let's see if I have any. This is another example. So I really, really, really love this punch because you just get such a pretty result with very little effort. Well, I'm glad I could share that with you. I'd also like to give you the measurements for the 6-inch. So if you'd rather use a straight up 6-inch paper and not have to trim it down to 5.5 by 5.5, here's what you would need to do. Just like with the other one, you're going to put it on your scoreboard with the pattern facing out, and with the top of your paper pointed upwards, you're going to score at 1 5/8 and 4 3/8, and then you're going to turn it once to the right, where your top of the paper is now on the right hand side, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch and again at 4 3/8, and then the rest of the process is the same. So thank you so much for letting me share my project with you. If you have any questions about this, I know it's a simple project, but for people who haven't really done any paper crafting, they might have some questions about it. Feel free to leave me a question in the comments, and I do appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful and blessed day.